when we get some parentheses go in here, here's an example of one where we have parentheses, in this case parentheses on both sides. Well, as we are aware, most of us anyway, you got to get rid of the parentheses first to solve this out. So I need to work on that. Left side, I've got to get rid of that parentheses. Let's do that first. Now note here, we just have a minus in front of parentheses. This 6 is really just to itself right now. So all I need to do on the left-hand side is distribute that negative inside the parentheses. The 6 will just come down to the right for now. Distributing a minus, well, it's minus 1 times the parentheses inside parentheses, so it'd be minus 1 times m is minus m, minus 1 times 2 is a minus 2. That's what happens on the left. Now on the right, got another distribute to do. Distribute the minus 2. Minus 2 distributed inside the parentheses, minus 2 times 3m is minus 6m, and then minus 2 times 5 is minus 10. So we've successfully removed our parentheses. Let's finish this out. Now the next step is look for the like terms. We do have on the left some like terms. 6 minus 2. We can combine those. 6 minus 2 is 4. So the left side will be 4, and then the minus m comes along. On the right side, well, we've got like terms of m there. 8m minus 6m. I can combine those. 8 minus 6 is 2. So that those two terms make 2m. And then the minus 10 just comes down as well. All right, so we worked our way now a much simpler equation. We need to get variables on one side, constants on the other. Let me show you what we can do there. Let's say we move the variables to the left, the constants to the right. So I'm going to move the 2m to the left, and the 4 is going to go over there to the right. Let me do that all at once. One way we can do that is this. So 2m, I'd subtract it to move it. Subtract it on both sides, and let's go ahead and do the 4 as well. To move the 4 over there, it'd be a minus 4 is what I would do to this side, so I'm going to have to do the same thing to that side. So here's what I get all together. 4 minus 4, that's 0. Minus m minus 2m. Now again, be aware there's a coefficient there of minus 1. So I have a minus 1, minus 2, that'd be a minus 3m. So the left side, all that's left over is a minus 3m. Over here, 2m minus 2m, that's 0, but then I have a minus 10 minus a 4, that's a minus 14, isn't it? So I'm almost through. Just have to hit the m by itself. That's 3, negative 3 times m, so divide by the negative 3. So that gives me an m by itself on the left side. Now I have a negative divided by a negative. That's a positive, so 14/3? Yeah, 14/3 would be the answer here that it would come out with. All right, let me give you another example of one with some grouping symbols. This one will have brackets and parentheses. Two, then a bracket, a square bracket. 3 plus 4 times parentheses y minus 5. Close the parentheses, then close the bracket. And that's going to equal 2y minus 6 minus 8y. All right. Well, thing of it is, got parentheses and brackets, just work from the inside out. So we do the inside most first here. I'll leave everything the same except, distribute the 4 there, multiply the 4 inside, so it'll be 4y minus 20. On the left side is what I'm going to do for that part. Now on the right side, I don't have any parentheses or brackets, so all I have to do there is do a little simplifying. You got like terms. You got your 2y minus your 8y. 2 minus 8 is negative 6, so that'll be a negative 6y, right? Minus 6. Okay. Well, a couple of things on the next step we could possibly do. We could go ahead and distribute the 2, or we could note here in the brackets, we do have some like terms. We've got 3, we've got a minus 20. We can combine those. Let's go ahead and combine those. 3 minus 20 is negative 17, and then the plus 4y, and then that equals negative 6y minus 6. Let's do that first. Yeah, that 2 is going to have to be distributed. Let's do that now. 2 times negative 17, that's negative 34. And then 2 times 4y is 8y. And then the left side is negative 6y minus 6. Okay, so we finally got rid of all the grouping symbols, the parentheses and the brackets. Now it's just a matter of getting y on a side by itself, put the y terms together, constants on the other. So I'm going to add the 6y and move the y terms to the left side, constants to the other, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Add the 34 both sides and see what happens. Well, minus 34 plus 34, that's 0. 14y for the y's. Over here then, the 6y, you got a minus 6y plus 6y, that's 0. Negative 6 plus 34, that's 28. But yeah, this one works out nicely. Just divide off the 14 now. Y is 2. Solution is going to be 2. All right? Now, let's try one with a few fractions in it. These will be linear equations, all right, but they're going to have some fractions. Let me show you one technique. Linear equations with fractions. There's a nice little technique that you can use and can help you solve those. This is going to be k plus 1 over 2 plus k plus 3 over 4 equals 1 over 10. All right, so we are going to have to solve this one. And the thing of it is, we've got fractions. All right, well, turns out on equations, you can actually clear fractions out. And you can do that by, well, first of all, you talk about your least common denominator, your LCD. Well, in this case, I've got 2 and 4 and 10 as my denominators. LCD, I'm talking about the least common multiple, a number that all 3 of those go into. If you start with the bigger one there, you got 10 as a multiple, 20 as a multiple, 30 as a multiple, but if you go back to 20 is a multiple of both 2 and 4, so I'm going to say the LCD there, we're going to have 20. 20 is a multiple of all 3 of those, so yep, 20 is our least common denominator. Now what I'm going to do is take that 20 and I'm going to multiply it by both sides. Multiply both sides of the equation by 20. because it's the LCD. That's why I'm choosing 20. But I'm going to multiply both sides by 20. Let's note it this way. Right, because that makes it legal, because I'm doing the same thing to both sides, multiplying both sides by 20. But note, 20 is multiplying it. That 20 has to be multiplied by both of these, doesn't it? K plus 1 over 2, it has to be multiplied by 20, and then the 20 has to be multiplied by the K plus 3 over 4. So let's just rewrite that. All right. Okay, well, if we do that, here's what happens. Going back to a little bit of fraction stuff, this 20 basically got fractions here that we're multiplying. The 20, of course, can be thought of as 20 over 1. And I'm multiplying the numerator. But yeah, remember that if you have something in the denominator that cancels with part of the numerator here, by all means we should do that. 2 goes into 20. So I'm going to reduce those down by 2 there, you see. That's going to make that 2 a 1, that 20, that's going to turn into 10, reducing those by 2 each. But what that means then is I've basically gotten rid of the fraction here, because the 2 now is turned into 1. 1 times 1 is 1. The denominator is 1. I've gotten rid of that denominator. Now I do have left here, let's write it this way, I do have 10 times K plus 1. I am going to have to distribute there that 10, multiply that 10 by the K plus 1. Well, same thing happens across the board here. That 20 is over 1 there. Well, I've got the 4 in the denominator and I've got 20 in the numerator. I can reduce those. 20 reduces by 4 to 5, and of course 4 reduces by 4 to 1. So what does that leave me? That leaves me 5 times K plus 3, which I will have to distribute the 5 there. And then last but not least, over here on the left side, I've got 20 over 1, so I can reduce those by 10s. 2 and 1. 2 times 1 is 2. So I've taken my original equation, which has fractions in it, no fractions now. In the equation, it's just a regular equation now. So I said distribute the 10 here, 10K plus 10. Distribute the 5, 5K plus 15. That equals 2. Combine the like terms, 10K plus 5K is 15K. 10 plus 15 is 25. Subtract 25. And so I wind up with, on the left side, 15K. And then on the right side, I have negative 23. 2 minus 25. Just all I have to do is divide off the 15. There's my solution. Okay? All right, well, let me give you another example of that. Works similar in other situations here. So I have x plus 3 over 2 minus x minus 2 over 6 equals 3/4 x plus 7. This one is similar to that other one. Do have some fractions. All right, so we're going to use this LCD technique. You got 2 and 6 and 4 as my denominators. Well, least common denominator of those. Look at your 6. You got 6 as a multiple, 12 is a multiple, and you get to 12 there. You do see we can use 12 because 12 is a multiple of 2 and it's a multiple of 4, so 12 LCD for this one. All right, now notice I didn't use anything for the 7 because think of it, that's 7 over 1. Its denominator is 1. Okay. All right, so the idea then is to take that LCD, multiply it by both sides, which essentially is going to mean multiplying the 12 by all parts. 12 times x plus 3 over 2 minus, and then 12 times x minus 2 over 6, and then 12 times 3/4 x, and even also we have to multiply, even though it doesn't have a denominator, that 12 does have to be multiplied by the 7 just to make everything legal here. Okay, so remember we think of that as 12 over 1. Got a 2 in the denominator, that's 12 in the numerator. We can cancel those by 2's. 6 and 1. So that'll leave over here 6 times x plus 3. 6 and then x plus 3. All right, in the middle here, 12 over 1, so I've got a 6 in the denominator, cancels into the 12 numerator, leaves me a 2. So I have minus 2 times x minus 2. We'll have to distribute a minus 2 there. Going over to the right, 12 over 1, so that's 4 into the 12. Can reduce that. Leaves me a 3. Then b times the 3x, denominator is 1. 3 times 3x is all that be left there. And then last but not least, 12 times 7. Well, 12 times 7, no reducing there. That's just 12 times 7. 12 times 7 gives me an 84. Here's what I have left. Fraction equation, now with no fractions. Much nicer. All right, so 6x, distributing that out, 6x plus 18. Distribute this out, distribute the minus 2, so that'd be minus 2x plus 4. And then 3 times 3x is 9x. So I have 9x plus 84 on the right side. Combine like terms on the left. 6x minus 2x is 4x. 18 plus 4, combine those, will be 22. What's 9x plus 84? Need to get the constants on one side, the variables on the other, so I'm going to bring the 9x, move it over, minus 9x, both sides, 22 over, subtract 22. 4x minus 9x is minus 5x. 22 minus 22 is 0. 9x minus 9x is 0. 84 minus 22 is 62. Divide off the negative 5, we got it. 62 divided by negative 5, that's negative 62/5. Other forms that are possible. All right.